there, I'm Janine, I'm an artist, and I'm going to share with you today a little tour of my studio, which is basically my living room, and all the cupboards, as you're going to see, are filled to the brink. So I got a little something that is hopefully going to improve everything. I don't have a dedicated studio where I do my art, so I basically work in the living room or dining room. This is the dining table with all the mess on it. I've basically taken over the whole room. I've got too many art supplies, so I need to sort things out. So this is where I paint, where I do all my artwork basically. Here's my palette, just so it stays wet. It has a lid on it. Then these are my brushes, all this paint here. This is where I put my paintings, but there isn't much space at the moment. I'm thinking of getting an easel for that. Then this is my, this is the board where I wipe all of my excess paint on. I have all these tubs with pre-mixed colours. I do use them, but I usually change the mixture a little bit so they always look slightly different. Some other rubbish that needs to go. This is, there's always something on the floor. This clear plastic sheet I lay out on the floor when I do bigger paintings. Over here, this is, looks like it's our TV unit, which it kind of is, but most of the cupboards are full with art supplies. So in here is where I keep all my paper. So these are random bits of paper and like color charts that I've painted, other color swatches, receipts that I need to sort for my expenses. This is my better paper down here and some canvas, all sorts of random varnishes and mediums that I've mixed. Down here is again lots of mediums, spray, fixative, varnishes, and a load of paint supplies. I think there's WATERMIXABLE oil paints and pastels, things like that. Then in this top drawer I have a lot of smaller paint tubes. I've got these go in here. I've got a bunch on the painting table currently, mixed with TV stuff. In here I have taller paint, mediums, again taller paint tubes, all my brushes, other painting tools, what is it called? Trowel. This is just stationery. And in here, this is even several layers. This is a tray from IKEA that has a lot of mark making tools in there and inks. Let's see if I can get this out with one hand. And this is a travel pouch. If I go anywhere, I put my painting supplies in that. Then there's varnishes for framing, some lino stuff that I tried, more paper, lovely stuff. Just close this again. In the next and last cupboard, at least in the living room, I have a lot of tech gear. So there's a scanner, some blue tack, a light. This I use quite often actually. This is my guillotine because I like to buy bigger paper and cut it down, which is a lot more cost effective. So my sum up machine that I use for art fairs, collage papers and other sort of semi-finished works. And it also always spills out onto this bench here. Got some camera gear, some other random stuff that I just got, this that I didn't want to throw away, not sure what to do with it yet, and so on. So as you can see, I have way too much stuff in not that much space. So yesterday I went to IKEA and I got this. Can you guess what it is? It's everybody's favorite IKEA art supply storage. So what I think I'm going to do first is put everything away as good as I can, and then get the new drawers set up and see what I can fit in there. Hello again. I've reorganized everything. I've cleared the table. I put a lot of things in the drawers. They're amazing. It's so much better to have everything easily accessible and not all the cabinets stuffed. So I'm going to show you what I've done. Right, so the table is now much cleaner, mainly because I've put all the paints away, but I've also put some stuff that was over here in the drawers and the cabinets. So I'm going to show you the drawers first. Actually, do you like this little thing that I've done? It's a mini watercolor palette that I can just put in my pocket. It's basically a business card holder. And then I also ordered some pans to go in here, magnetic pans. But I ordered them from eBay and then I realized they wouldn't come until in 2 months' time. So I used this palette paper and just squeezed out some of my watercolors. I don't actually have red, yellow and blue. So I used the closest color, which is, this is like a very dark yellow and more of a browny red and a lovely blue. And this is a buff titanium, which I love. And this is still drying. Then I also have this old jar, which is just from H&M. It was a candle, and now it's got all my what do you call them? The oil pastels in them, and also a few. I think these are discontinued actually. They're very similar to the NEOCOLOR 2 crayons. They're water-soluble sticks. These are just some of my studio journals that I use. Then in this first drawer I have all the smaller paint tubes that fit in here basically. So even these here, which are quite a bit bigger, but they fit in here, so I put them here. They're sorted by colour. I'm pretty sure pretty quickly this is gonna be more of a mess. Then I have in this tray a lot of mark making supplies that I use frequently. For example, I love this charcoal sketch stick, and these are the NEOCOLOR 2 that I've got, the loose ones, and some clips to hold back the sketchbook pages. In the second drawer I put a lot of the mark making tools again. Well, basically tools that I use for my paintings. They were in this box on the table here, but I thought they'll be much easier accessible and the table won't be as cluttered. Then these are all my bigger brushes, and brushes I use a lot, which I use these type of brushes a lot, especially for the smaller paintings, and then very few small brushes, and some palette knives that I use a lot. In here we have paper that I don't use as frequently. So these are very old, thinner paper. These came in some subscription boxes that I had. This is the tear off palette that I talked about, that I used for this little watercolor palette. And some scrap paper. And this is a jelly plate that I actually made myself. In here is the paper that I use most of the time. I do actually really like this CARAN own brand A3 paper, watercolor paper. It's really good. So there's this and another one. Cardi paper, which I'm still not sure if I like it or not. In here is some just smaller cuts of paper that I use when I go traveling. This is rice paper. I haven't actually used that a lot yet. Freezer paper. This is transfer paper that I can just paint on and then print it onto the painting. Some blank cards in the back. Tape, more tape, and this is a mirror. Then in here I have my inks. These are soft pastels, more soft pastels, hard pastels, some really cheap gouache. These are, this is masking fluid, which I never use. That's just another ink. Here is some oil sticks underneath that. They're water-soluble oil pastels. Water-mixable oil paints that I tried once and haven't used since. I want to explore that a little bit more when I have the time. These are some more NEOCOLOR 2 water-soluble wax pastels, which I love. These are tinted charcoal pencils and some more hard pastels in just a color palette that I loved. Very neutral colors. That's just some like pencils and things like that. Here are more water-soluble pencils. And these are color swatches that I've made. Some wire wool. And these are more mark making tools, similar to the ones that I have here, but these are smaller. Like a sewing wheel or brayer, sponge, old card. Old credit cards are amazing tools for painting. And down here is all the other random stuff. I have some colored acetate. This is really great for looking at a painting and then you can tell all the values really easily. Some more photo stuff. This is bookbinding glue, which I used to make paper blocks out of paper pads. There's a really great video tutorial from Sandi Hester. These are little magnets that I bought for the watercolor palette. Again. Some other stuff in the back here, and just these are mainly just camera gear. These are, I forgot. Anyway, they're great to use to clip on a white piece of foam board and then use that as a reflector when you're taking photographs, and lots of other things. Then let's go over to the cabinets. So that's what they actually look like. just a standard Besta from IKEA. These handles are from Anthropology. I don't think they have them anymore, unfortunately. I love those. So in here I have my pre-mixed colours that I use sometimes. In here is all the random stuff really. There's more sponges in here, a palette, some linen canvas samples, mixing pots, screws, very fun stuff. This is my the IKEA tray. I don't actually use it a lot. If I had a bigger studio, I'd probably leave it out and use it like that. So I have some oil, I'll show you actually, some oil bars, some other ink, random mark making tools. These that I don't actually use a lot, but I did like them, but they're very messy. XL charcoal. And then here's some little water-soluble crayons, which I also really like. And we have some smaller canvas pieces. This is all collage papers. Underneath here, ooh, this is all the stuff that didn't fit anywhere else. So my colour swatches, some other random things, and more colour swatches, and a crystal acrylic palette, and some old paper. And down here I have all my large System 3 paints. These are the main paints I use, which are really cheap, but pretty good quality. There's some more paints and varnishes that I've mixed, retarder medium. In this drawer is quite similar to what it was before, it just has less paint in it. So there's all my smaller paints, and these are the same colours that I have in the big System 3 tubes, but I like to mix them with a little bit of water and medium to make them more fluid, and they're easier to use really in those smaller bottles. And then a few more mediums in the back. Down here I have all my bigger tools, and these are all the smaller brushes that I didn't put in the drawer, basically because they didn't fit. Otherwise I would have put them in the drawer as well. More mediums, and I really like this glazing fluid. I love glazing on my paintings and adding just a thin wash of colour. This is the messy drawer. It's quite similar to how it was before. This is my travel pouch. A lot of wood things like canvas keys. These are used for framing, little round circles, wooden circles. These are all my, I cut up old clothes. This was a dress that was had lots of holes in it, and then I cut it up and use them as rags, so I don't have to use any, or not as many paper towels. Tapes, etc. Tack cloths are good. Oh, sorry. Tack cloths. I like those when I've got when I've sanded a painting, and then you just wipe it away because it's a little bit sticky, which means it takes off all the dust better. These are varnishes for framing. And in here we have all the same stuff as before, but not as much. So again, here's electric stuff, my guillotine, and finished pieces. that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and it's shown you that you don't need a designated art studio to make art. Granted, I have taken up most of the living room, which isn't great. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and comment down below, all that good stuff. And I have linked everything I mentioned in the description down below. If you want to see more from me, you can watch my latest video, which is up here. Thank you, bye!